Evening, everybody. It's Andy Rose and Snow Camp Shore up here with another Sunday Ski Cast. So this week we've got a belter for you. We have got Reilly McGlashan. Reilly is an Australian, so he will be speaking Australian, so I will translate if needed. All you've got to do is put in the comments translate, and I'll translate the last thing he said. But for those of you who don't know Reilly, I'm sure a lot of you do, Reilly is an Australian ski teacher. He was an examiner for the Australian Ski Federation. Maybe they call it the Alliance. Also, he has been to Interski twice in the Australian demo ski team. He trains for rookies in New Zealand. He has worked in Japan, New Zealand, also Aspen, and is possibly probably one of the best technical skiers that there is out there at the moment. Tonight, we are going to talk about what Reilly gets up to with Projected Productions with his pal Paul Lorenz. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about injuries and whatever you guys ask. As you know, you ask the questions. So just put your questions in the comments and I will put them to Reilly. It can be pretty much anything you want. And if you are watching on Facebook, then please do feel free to host a watch party. There is a button just below this screen where you can press watch party and you can share that to any page, or just like it, comment and share it with your friends. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello to you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And again, if you'd like to ask any questions, pop them in the comments below. So I am going to bring in Reilly. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Andy. Thanks for having me on here.
No worries. Thank you for taking your time on your Sunday night. I'm sure you're a busy man. So, Reilly, for those people who may not know you, just give us a little intro to who you are and what you do and what you've done.
Okay, well, you pretty much summed up all the key points that I was going to say. But yeah, a passionate skier since I was a little kid, and ever since I was 10 years old, I wanted to be an instructor. So when I finished high school, that's what I set out to do. And basically, I've tried to follow my passion around the world. And you mentioned a few places that I've been. I've taught in the US, many seasons in the US, maybe 12 winters in the US. And I've done some teaching in Chile and in Argentina, New Zealand, Australia, China, Japan, and in Europe. So that's been a really big passion of mine, as well as traveling around the world and visiting different ski areas too. And yeah, being a trainer for ski instructors with the Australian Association, APSI. And I was running training and things like that for instructors over in the US as well. And yeah, basically now I started a ski school in Japan, and that's what I've been doing the last 5 years is living and skiing in Japan for the winter, and I love it.
Brilliant. So basically what you're saying is, since you left school, you've been a full-time professional ski teacher, winter and winter on both hemispheres.
Yes. Now for 34 winters back to back.
34 winters. There you go, kids. Any young aspiring teachers that are watching this that think you cannot make a career out of it, listen to what that man just said. 34 back-to-back winters. So
I don't know about a career out of it, but yeah.
I didn't say a well-paid career. A couple of comments coming in already for you, Reilly. A couple of people that you probably know. Fabian Steeple is saying hello.
Hey, Fabi.
And I don't know if you know Colin Martin. So Fabi and Colin were on one of our very first ski casts when we did boot fitting. And Fabi's also asking if I could translate what you just said. Fabi, what he said is he's a better skier than you. Kevin Hammond, hello, Andy and Reilly. Hello, Kevin. Thanks for tuning in again. Kevin is a regular watcher of the show, as is Carl Meredith. Good evening, guys, from Belfast, Chin Chin. Hello, Carl. So Carl used to be a ski teacher in Kitzbühel, Reilly, just so you know who he is. Good stuff. Okay, so we're going to get straight into the questions. We've already had some sent in. If anybody would like to ask a question, just pop it in the comments. I will bring it up onto the screen and I will ask Reilly on your behalf. So the first question we've got, and we're straight into Projected Productions one. And this is coming from Lee. Hello, Lee. And he basically says, what's the main aim of Projected Productions? Who is behind it all and how did it all start?
Okay, so the main aim, well, Paulie and I started it back in 2015. That's when we actually met back in on the glacier in Kitstonehorn. You came around and helped us out and watched us film a little bit.
Yep.
I think it was 2015, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 50. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe, I think, yeah. I think
End of 15. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Or
basically
end of winter 15. Yeah.
Yeah, end of winter. Yeah, somewhere around there. And basically how it started was, obviously Paulie and I are very passionate about the ski industry, but we're also ski nerds as well, and we love everything about technique, and we've been around the world and skied with many instructors from around the world as well. And obviously when we went to Interski and saw all the different countries, every country has their different systems and their different organizations, but there were some really standout skiers from each country. And we really wanted to know, what do they do specifically? How did they get to their level that they're at? And how did, basically they developed their technique the way that they did. So I reached out at the time. I'd been in contact with JF, and that I had never met him until he came to the Kitstonehorn with us in 2015. So that was the first time I met him, and basically I'd reached out to him because he was putting a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I really liked his skiing and I wanted to ski with him, and he was such a nice guy. He was like, yeah, let's go film. And I'd never met him before, and I was like, I told Paulie, I was like, I invited JF. I've chatted to him on the phone once. We'll see how it goes. He's such a nice guy, and it worked out really good. And it kind of went from there, because we wanted to share our ideas, and hopefully that could trigger some people to want to come ski with us and share their ideas. And then when we went to Interski in 2015, we met a few people there from different countries, or from all around the world, and we talked to the people that we thought really inspired us, how they skied. And that's how we got all of the guys on our videos now, because we were mostly, for me, I'm really interested to hear how they improved. And if I think that I'm interested in that, then maybe some other people are, and that's kind of how it started.
Right, cool. So for those people out there who don't know what Projected Productions is, or you haven't seen any of the videos, if you search on YouTube, you'll find some of the videos. And if you search in Google, you'll find a website. And there are, as Reilly's just said, many, many videos of the top skiers from the different nations. And they talk about how they became as well skilled and versed in skiing as they are. And there's some, well, you've mentioned JF. I think I've seen Richie Berger's on there. And who else is there?
There's Andreas Spettel, John Alson, Nadine Grunenfeld, Alex Tagwalder, Takao Mariyama, Paul Lorenz, me,
obviously yourself,
Jonathan Ballou.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm blanking right now.
Yeah, but if anyone was to search any of those names, they would find a video of them and see how technically astute they are as skiers, wouldn't they? Good stuff, brilliant. Okay, so next, let me just have a look what we got coming in. Colin, what? I don't understand your question, mate. Standout from the UK. Who's that then? Reilly, did you say you met a standout skier from the UK just then?
I didn't mention it just then.
Okay,
but there's a lot of
any that come to mind.
Yeah, so I've worked with a few guys down in Rookies that are from the Basie system, who I really like skiing with, and there's a few guys down there, but I haven't actually skied besides Jazz, Bruce, and Rupert. I haven't skied with that many
Basie guys.
Not. I haven't actually been skiing with any of them personally, so I don't know too much. But besides, Jazz, Bruce, and Rupert, they're great guys and great skiers. So
okay, cool. Hopefully that's what you're on about, Colin. Carl Meredith's coming in with a question that we have also got in the pre-questions. Although this word is slightly different, but he's asking you, have you ever taught anyone famous, or any famous people like Andy Rose? So any famous clients, Reilly?
Maybe not as famous as Andy Rose, but I have taught a few in Aspen. I don't know. Yeah, I'm worried about the privacy here. I don't want to be saying names and people get upset.
Okay, But are we talking movie stars?
Yeah, I think movie stars would be okay with movie stars, and would be okay with me saying it. But yeah, some, I guess, high profile people. I'm not like business people, I won't say, but just for privacy reasons. But the I don't know if you guys know Elle Macpherson.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay,
So Elle
cool.
Macpherson was one. I was skiing with her in Aspen for a few years. She's really nice. She's an Australian. She's one of the, I think, I'm not sure exactly what she did, like her modeling career, how she came famous. I think she might have won something, but she's been a top model for a long time.
Well, Elle Macpherson was she was known as the Body, wasn't she? That was her kind of her handle. And she then launched an underwear range. And then didn't she host Australia's Top Model, maybe?
Yeah, and she did a show for that where
she was massive. Yeah, Elle Macpherson was massive. Probably still is massive.
Yeah.
I was in Aspen in
Great
2000. I was in Aspen in 2000, and Mariah Carey was in town, skiing on buttermilk, of all places. There you go, Carl. Hopefully that answers your question. And obviously Reilly did ski with me when he was here in the Kitzsteinhorn, but it was more like I followed Reilly rather than he skied with me. Phil is asking, great to hear such passion. If only I'd started younger. Is it ever too late? Oh, is it ever too late, Reilly?
It's never too late. Never too late at all. You got to just do it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because
get out there, Phil, and do it.
It's about the fun. If you're having fun, and that's what it's all about. That's why we do it, is because of the sensations and the, you know, everybody here knows why we do it. So well, I hope everyone here knows.
we got loads coming in now on the live comments, but I'm going to just duck back to one of the pre-questions. And it's from John, and it's an Australian to Japan question. He's asking, how easy is it for someone from Australia to get a job in the minimum level of qualification needed?
Okay, so it was kind of tricky until about 2 months ago. Like getting a working holiday visa was very easy. So you could go for 1 year or 2 years, depending on the country. And that was very easy. You could have as many jobs as you want when you went there. And you could get a ski instructor job. But after that, if you wanted to go back and get a sponsored visa, you had to have had 36 months of teaching experience to get a sponsored visa. And to have 36 months of teaching experience is many. It's like eight or nine full-time winters. So yeah, it's pretty hard. You have a very big gap of experience. You have like a lot of beginner instructors and then a lot of really high experienced instructors there. There's not many people coming up through the systems. But in September, they have just changed that rule, I think, so that anybody can get a visa from level 1 to level 4 without that much experience. So I think from next season, it's going to be pretty easy to get a visa for anybody, any certification.
Wow, cool. Okay, there you go, John. That's quite good news for all those people who want to go over work in Japan. So another Japan question from Stacy, and Stacy is asking, when's the best time to visit for the POW, for the powder?
Okay, the most reliable time is January, February. You can, like right now, they're getting a lot of snow. They just had like 1.5 meters this week, but early December's kind of hit and miss. And yeah, probably from, let's say, the 20th of December onwards until about the 20th of February, possibly maybe to the end of February. But you can get good powder into the first week of March, but that's a bit hit and miss.
Okay, so looking at this photo, Reilly, and this is for you, Stacey, a little bit of Japan POW. How does this rate in the way of POW in Japan? Would this be a good day or an average day?
Oh, that's just average day because you can see tracks. You can see a few tracks.
That's an average day. Brilliant. An average day of POW in Japan, everybody. Book your winter 21 holidays now. Good stuff. There you go, Stacey. Hopefully that answers your question. We're going to duck back into the live questions, and Andreas is asking, which instructor system is, in your opinion, the hardest system to get a full certification in?
It's a tricky question because I haven't done all of the
you haven't done
systems,
all of them yet.
but I think the main European country are pretty hard. You know, I'd say that from what I know about Austria, it could be the most complete one. I'd say probably say the Austrian system is probably the longest, most complete one. You start off with level 1 and go to level 4, and the level 3 and the level 4 is it covers a lot of content where you have to be a dual cert, you have to do backcountry stuff, and you have to do obviously for guiding off piste and everything. Here in Europe, it's pretty important. So I'd say, as far as content, like a diversified, varied content with a lot of hard material, I'd say probably the Austrian system would probably be, if you do full cert, if you make it to full cert.
Yeah. And outside of Europe, Reilly, and therefore let's take away the Euro test, the speed test, looking at America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and whatnot, which one would you say is the most difficult out of all of them?
I've done a few of them, and I'd have to say the Canadian one is probably, if you're doing the full cert, will be probably the highest level and the hardest one.
Yeah.
If I was going to be honest.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard about the Canadian one, from obviously JF when we were skiing on the Kitzsteinhorn, and then also Christian Eigener, Christian's just popped in actually. Christian Eigener, what he's told me about the Canadian one, it seems to be extremely well rounded, with so many different facets to it, but a massive emphasis on actually teaching skiing, which I actually think the Austrian one, even though I'm in the Austrian system, I don't think there's enough emphasis on the actual teaching of skiing in the system, albeit it is a very robust and hard system to get through, especially to get to level 4. So good stuff, Canadian and European.
Yeah, I think the Canadian, I really like the way that the Canadians ski. They have a lot of really strong skiers, a lot of really inspirational skiers, and yeah, they've kind of got a good blend of like the teaching side plus the skiing side. So yeah, I think they're probably out of the English speaking certifications, I would say maybe the
Canadian. Yeah,
the Canadian is probably the
good stuff. Okay, there you go, Andreas. Hopefully that answers your question. I think it does. Colin is saying that was his question. And Harry McFadden, I don't know if we know Harry, he is saying JDS is from the UK. Do we know JDS?
Yes, I do know JDS. He is from the UK. I classify him as a Kiwi though, because he's on the Kiwi team, and he's a Kiwi trainer. He hasn't done anything in I thought I must have misunderstood the question then. If he was asking about, I thought he meant like UK certified instructors.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so Colin was talking about guys from the Basie system.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
okay. So JDS is a Kiwi as far as the Aussies are concerned.
He's from the UK, but he's done all his certification in actually he's done it in Canada and in New Zealand, and he was on the interski team for New Zealand at the last.
Cool. I do think that Colin was referring to which Basie guys rather than which UK guys. Yeah. I think Fabi is enjoying the talk about the body. Elm McPherson. Carl is saying thanks to the answer to his question about the VIPs, and Christian Eigener, who obviously average day because of Reilly's height. That's going back to the picture of you in the powder. He's saying it's an average day because obviously you're only 170 centimeters and we could see 10 centimeters of you, so there can't have been that much snow, is what Mr. Eigener is saying. Well, very good, Christian. Brilliant. God loves a joker. Right, back to the pre-sent-in questions. Funnily enough, the next one was about the different ski systems, so we don't need to worry about that. Chris is asking, you work with rookies, which is true. Are you still working with rookies when you can ski?
I haven't worked with them. Did 3 winters with them. Yeah. So
okay.
Not sure about what's going on this next year, but yeah, possibly.
Okay. So the question is, you've worked with rookies. What are your thoughts on gap year courses? Are they needed for people to pass their level 1 qualification?
my thought on gap year courses, well, they're definitely not needed to pass level 1, but I think that they're great ways for people to spend time skiing and improving. Like if you want to be a good skier and improve, it's the time on snow and putting the effort into doing it, and especially skiing with good skiers and good trainers. You don't need to do a gap year course to pass a level 1 exam, but I'd say that if you can afford to do it, it makes everything way more enjoyable, because you get to go out with a bunch of like-minded people. You get to hang out with lots of different trainers that are passionate about the industry. And there's a lot of things that you get exposed to that you just don't get exposed to in a normal course. So it's just a different vibe. And I feel it's a really fun vibe as well.
Yeah. And Chris, I would agree with that. It's a lot about the social element of doing the course as well as the skiing element. But as well, if you spend 4 or 6 weeks doing a gap year course before your exams, you're going to ace your exams where you may just have scraped through, and you'll be a lot better for it. So as Reilly said, if you can afford it, then do it, whether that be with rookies or any of the other organizations out there. Cool and the gang. So what we got next? Carl, why did you pick Japan on top of Aspen?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, my wife, she's Italian, and it was hard to get a visa, actually. So we were looking at places to go. That's kind of how, and all my friends were in Japan. And yeah, so we decided to go to Japan, and I went to Japan the first year just thinking, oh, we'll do 1 season in Japan and then go to Europe, because all my friends were there. I really wanted to go to Japan. I wanted to ski the powder. I saw the mountains, I saw the powder, and I was like, I just have to do kind of a gap year there. That's kind of how I went there, with that mind frame of just, I'm going to do a gap year and then go to Europe and start something in Europe. And I went there and I was like, I love this place. So that season, at the end of the season, I started organizing opening a ski school, and yeah, the rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say. Cool. Just on that, the powder thing we've spoken about, but it's a lot about bumps over there as well, right?
There is, but not where I am. There's maybe a few bump lines here and there. It snows too much. It keeps on filling in. So sometimes you get some bumps formed over a few days that maybe it doesn't snow for 1 or 2 or 3 days, and you get some good bumps, and then it starts filling back in again. And there's one run on the mountain it's a pretty good steep pitch, but people like the Japanese guys will just go and lap that, and they'll just continuously make bumps. So there's like 1 or 2 lines that never get left. That's why you see mogul lines in Japan, not necessarily mogul fields, is because of the continuous snowfall. Obviously, down in Honshu, if you go to Honshu, you'll get mogul fields because it doesn't snow anywhere near as much down there. So they'll have like weeks of sun, and it's kind of like, yeah, other places around the world. Obviously, they can get lots and lots of snow as well in Honshu. There's places that get tons of snow, but like the big mogul fields you see is in Honshu. Up where I am, not really many.
Where exactly are you then?
Up in Hokkaido, in Niseko. So
okay.
In the North Island, yeah. That's the place that's known for the really light powder. Down in the main island, you get a lot of powder in some areas, but it's generally heavier. But it is light as well, but generally heavier.
Cool, good stuff. Don't forget, everybody, if you want to ask questions, just pop them in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Also, we have got at the moment on the main page 30 of you watching, we've got 16 likes. It'll be nice to see a few more likes, please, everybody. Next question from Jane. Okay, so we've had, why did you pick Japan over Aspen? So that was partly down to your wife being Italian. But Jane is asking, how do the winters between Aspen and Japan differ?
So very, very different. I mean, Aspen, I think, has 300 days of sun every year. It's always sunny. So it doesn't snow that much in Aspen. Even on the biggest snow year in Aspen, which was one of them, I think the biggest snowfall season must have been my first winter, 06, 07. It was a very, very big winter. And I think they reported like close to 600 inches of snow. But the 600 inches of snow that season was kind of like I don't know, what we would call the first month of the season in Japan. So
okay.
I just think that the measuring systems are very different. I think in Aspen they might be measuring at the very top of the mountain in a snowdrift or something. I don't know where they're measuring, but it's when you actually experience the two. I experienced that season where they had close to 600 inches, and then a Japan season where you have what they measure as like a 450-inch season, and it feels like 3 times as much snow.
Wow. Okay. Cool. There you go. Who was that? That was Jane, wasn't it? Yeah. There you go, Jane. I went, as I say, I went Aspen. I went Snowmass in 2000, or was it 2003? Yeah, 2000. And I was as lucky as hell because, as you say, very, very sunny every day, but every night it snowed. And I was there for 2 weeks, and I would say that it was going to Snowmass and having to ski powder every day that eventually meant I could ski powder, because up until then I'd never been away for a long enough period, except for my very first season back in 1988, where I've been able to ski powder consistently enough to get to deal with powder. So yeah, but 2000, and it was something like March the 7th to March the 14th or 20th or something like that, and it just snowed every night. Not a massive amount, but it was powdery, you know. But as you say, very, very sunny. So it was good for the end of season Easter tan.
Yeah, it is.
There you go, Jane. Hopefully that answers your question. Christoph Nielsen is asking, let me just get rid of that banner a second. He's asking, what is your main focus in a GS turn? Nice question.
My main focus in a GS turn.
Not falling over.
Yeah. The main focus really is to keep flow. That's the main focus, is to connect all the movements nicely, fluidly, easily, because that feels nice. You know, when everything doesn't connect well and it's like you're getting bumps or jerks or anything. So yeah, my main focus is feeling the snow and feeling that exactly what I need to get out of the snow, so that I can try and have the fluidity and smoothness. I mean, it doesn't always happen. Like, that's always the goal. Kind of like, you know, if you've ever done skateboarding or surfing and in a bowl and on a wave, those types of feelings where you're doing turns and you're letting the energy push you around. So yeah, the main focus is fluidity, keeping the skis running, but feeling the snow and not having any stagnant parts. That's my main focus.
So fluidity is probably the outcome of the action. Well, this is kind of how I would put it. So what would you say the action is to get that fluidity? Is it to be constantly moving? Is it to be constantly on the outside skiing?
It's either well, one is the sense, like being, you know, the touch on the snow, the feeling. So always being very sensitive with the pressure under the foot, where it is on, like, depending on the snow type. Like if the snow's very icy, you can bounce more through the whole foot. If the snow is very soft and slushy, you might have to bounce through the back of the foot if you start bogging down. So and obviously in the end of the day, if you're going to do some carving on some more like bumpier undulating snow, where it's always kind of changing, so you always have to make sure that you're feeling the foot and the ski. So that's the sensation, just having the touch, trying to figure out where to be so that you don't either bog down or you don't get back. And from there, then obviously trying to shorten the inside leg to get the appropriate edge angle for whatever the condition is. Obviously with some snow, you can't get that much edge angle, and with other snow, you can get a lot of edge angle. It just depends, because some snow has density where you can get the feedback and also the resistance against it, and some snow just doesn't have any density or resistance. So that's where it comes in, because often people are always thinking just to do the maximum all the time, but you have to feel the snow. You can't just go maximum the whole time. So that's why my main focus is one, the flow, and then the feeling of the snow. That's always what the very first thing that comes into besides getting into a ski position, getting into a proper ski position first, a centered position. And then after that, then I'm trying to just feel the snow, to see how much I can move in, that feel the speed, how much can I move in, and then from there, that's when I can decide on a few movements to get a technical outcome.
Okay, cool. For people who aren't aware of Reilly's YouTube channel, if you put Reilly McGlashan into YouTube, you'll find his channel, and there are a plethora of videos on there. Some of them where Reilly is skiing and explaining what he's doing and what he's feeling for. There's other ones recently about how Reilly fastens his boots up for different conditions. Go on there, have a little look around, make sure you subscribe, press the bell icon, and then you'll get updates every time Reilly posts a video. But there's some fascinating stuff on there and some absolutely brilliant skiing to go and watch. Hopefully, Christopher, that is an answer that you were looking for. Fabi is saying in 0405 he worked in Aspen. Colin Martin is saying, no, Fabi, you were employed in Aspen, which is possibly meaning he was employed, but he didn't do a great deal of work. Fabi, what is the difference?
He's spent too much time in après ski.
Yes. Gemma McMillan, I'm sure you know Gemma, Reilly. Do you know Gemma? Done the Australian system. She's asking, how do you prepare for skiing bumps?
Just
Is that before or after you've loosened your boots?
In like maybe how do I prepare before the winter, or how do I prepare before I'm just about to go down the run?
Just before you're going down the run, I would think.
Yeah, just before I'm going down the run I would have a look at the line just to see how big the bump is and feel the snow, to feel how hard the snow is, what type of snow it is. You can touch the snow. Obviously, with your skis, you kind of know, and then you have a look at the line, see how big they are. Those would be the first things, and just plan out where I want to ski, so that I'm not being surprised.
How many?
If I'm straight at the top of if I'm at the top of the run, that's what I'd be thinking.
How many bumps in advance are you looking, Reilly? Are you looking 2 in advance? Are you looking 3 in advance? Where are you looking? When you're
just kind of like skimming. You're not really focusing on anything. You're just kind of skimming down and ahead. Sometimes it might be the bump ahead, and sometimes it might be 2 bumps ahead. Sometimes it might be 3. Sometimes your head bobble and you lose sight and you have to keep going.
Yeah, your nose touches your knees.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. There you go, Gemma. I hope you're well. I've not spoken to you for a while. Fabi is saying he was underage when he worked in Aspen. I'm sure that didn't stop him. So Tracy has sent in a question, and she's asking, how do the ski schools in Japan differ from other places you've worked?
How do the ski schools where in?
How do the ski schools in Japan differ? How different are they to ski schools in, let's say, Aspen and Australia?
So there's a lot of ski schools in Japan that are very similar to Australia and very similar to the US. So they're set up, same system where they have kids group lessons and adult group lessons and private lessons, exactly like a lot of ski schools. But the ski school I started is a little bit different. We just do private lessons only. We ski with a lot of high-end clientele, and basically that's what I was doing in Aspen. So we had kind of a different product that we're offering in Aspen, and I saw there was a similar market to that in Niseko where we were, and I wanted to bring that type of customer service, that type of level of experience to the Niseko region. And that's so our ski school, the ski school that I started, is private only. As a boutique ski school. We're a small ski school, 20 instructors last winter. So yeah. Okay,
and where are those 20 instructors all from, Reilly?
All over the world. So JDS, and Harry McFadden, he's I saw him in the chat. He was with us. JDS, the one that the UK Kiwi guy that we were just talking about before, he was with us. So UK, New Zealand, Italy. We had people from Denmark, UK, Italy, US, Australia, New Zealand. Everywhere, all over the world.
Okay, cool, interesting. I think one of the things you've just touched on there, and obviously they're massive on this in the US, is the customer service element. And this is something I speak about all of the time, is that I don't see that the average ski school in Austria even knows what customer service is. They know what giving a ski lesson is, and they know what giving group lessons is, and allocating a teacher to a person maybe, but they don't actually have a very good understanding of what good customer service is, which I think is what's lacking in a lot of Austria. But it's good to hear that you said that was one of the main focuses of the ski school in Japan, which is pretty cool. We got Gemma's back.
Yeah.
Okay, she's not satisfied with our answer. Gemma, your question was rubbish. So she's asking, overall prep I was thinking of, what kind of drills do you practice for the bumps? Hopefully we've got it right this time, Gemma. If not, you'll probably break my balls next time I see you.
So overall, like, I guess lots of different short-term variations, like as drills. Yeah, lots of different short-term variations, lots of tempo changes, just trying to get really quick feet. The other thing is doing I think slalom skis on doing a very loopy slalom turn where you get a lot of flexion at the transition is really good for preparing for moguls as well, because you're getting kind of like a virtual mogul where the ski is out to the side and you get the pressure, and then you let the pressure push the knees back up just like you do with the mogul, and then tip them out to the other side again. So that's only possible on doing a slalom ski style slalom turn on a slalom ski. Yeah.
Cool.
So
there you go, Joe.
Yeah, basically those types of things, drills with short turns on the groomer.
Cool. Short turns.
And fast.
Good stuff.
Quick.
There you go, Gemma. Hopefully that answers the question now, Gemma. If it doesn't, tell us and we'll ask it again. David has got one for you. How to initiate a new turn early in GS? How do you get early pressure and angle on the new outside ski?
Okay, so initiating a turn. So the initiation comes from the turn before for me. So at the foreline of the last turn, I start initiating if I need to. So whenever I get the rebound from the foreline, that's when I start trying to initiate, and I'll just try and just release the pressure off that foot. And then I try and let gravity take me down into or momentum actually, because gravity takes you directly down to the center of the earth. So I'm not trying to go to the center of the earth, I'm trying to go down the hill. So yeah, let momentum take me down, but that's just from taking the pressure away from the outside ski. So it's just that simple, just to relax and then just let the body move where it needs to be set up into the middle of the next turn. But the early pressure thing is, early pressure on the new outside ski will just depend on if you let your center of mass travel in too quickly into the turn relative to your speed, then you'll move onto the inside ski. If you let the momentum push you inside the turn and you're traveling at the right speed for that movement, then you'll have weight on the outside ski, because it's just about matching the speed to the inclination that you have in the turn. So you need to have the right amount of inclination for the speed. So that's why when you go very slow, you can only get this much. If you try and get a big edge angle and you're going very slow, you just fall over. But if you watch Ted Ligety in the Beaver Creek, there's a really good clip of him where he's like pretty much in one line all the way over. Like there's not one single angle in his body. He's just perfectly matched the force that he's receiving from the snow with the inclination that he has. So you're just kind of balancing against the force. So yeah, it just takes time and practice on knowing, and it's just repetition. You have to practice. You have to fall over many times. Have to go out and try. Oh, that was too far. I fell on my face. Oh, I didn't get much edge angle and I didn't go that far in. I probably could go a bit more. It's just playing around with that. And if you move onto the inside ski, you know you've moved too far in and too quickly for the speed you're going. And then it will just depend on the ski as well. Like if you're on a 18-meter GS ski or if you're on a 25-meter GS ski. You just have to keep on increasing the speed to get the same type of inclination in the turn. So all the same type of inclinations up to like 35 meters is possible, but you just have to match the speed to that ski. So with a 35-meter GS ski, you're gonna have to just go faster.
Yeah, you're gonna have to work a bit harder.
When you do it on a slalom ski, if you do it on a slalom ski, you can go much slower. So
okay. Hopefully that answers your question, David. David, do I know you? I've got a feeling your name rings a bell, but I can't put a face to the name. Christian Eigener, he's back. How much time do you spend in the gym? What are your go-to exercises? Cheers, Christian.
Yeah, I wish I got to this. Yeah, I wish I got to spend more time in the gym. Since I moved to Japan, actually, I haven't really had time to go to the gym because of running the ski school. So probably the last 5 years, not so much. But I really want, and now with COVID, nothing, can't do any gym. So just becoming a couch potato. But yeah, if I was gonna get back into the gym again, then yeah, just the basic movements, and I don't think that you need to go really heavy with any of the movements. I think, maybe your body weight in a squat would be kind of like you don't need to really push it with heavy weights, but I think it's just about being consistent. So squats, I guess, like Romanian deadlifts are really good, and deadlifts, and yeah, any type of variations of those, split squats, Romanian deadlifts. I did a lot of plyos, but I think they kind of destroy your body. So I actually wouldn't recommend doing plyometrics. I would probably just recommend just doing slow, controlled, gym movements, just to gain a little bit of strength and a little bit of movement, and then let the skiing be the plyometric workout. That's what I would do personally. But
that's quite interesting, because I know a lot of people who are plyometrics crazy. So that's interesting. Christian, what do you do in the gym? Tell us in the comments. Okay, Colin, our boot fitter, I think he's about to have a bit of I think he's squirming at the thought of you undoing your boots for bumps, albeit you're not totally undoing them. But let's just see what he's got to say. Loosening the boots off for the bumps. As a fitter, the ankle buckle is key to holding the foot at the back of the boot, whilst I get the upper buckles. I see so many people who bruise toes when they don't have the clips secure. Okay, so Reilly, you're not undoing all of the buckles, are you?
No, so the foot part of the boot, the shoe, is done up just the same, like always the same. Basically, and like I tried to explain in the videos, this is my personal thing. Sometimes in bumps, I won't totally undo. I'll keep them done up as well. It'll just depend on the snow conditions and the temperature. Because, like, say if it's a spring day and it's very warm, and there's a lot of slushy, then I don't need to undo my boots. But say if it's with a 150, if it's pretty cold, then I'll loosen them off like I showed at the top of on the cuff area. And also my fit is very, very, very tight. So I measure 26 centimeters my foot, but I'm in a 24.5 boot. So like getting my toe banging on the end is always, it's there anyway. It doesn't change. So yeah, it would be for some guests, some people, depending on their fit. And that's why I was saying just have to experiment with what works for them. Because I know people who don't change their boots all day. They just have their boots done up exactly the same all day, and absolutely amazing skiers. So I don't think it's just more of an idea that you should try it if it might make sense for you. If it doesn't make sense, then that's okay as well. Yeah. But I didn't. Only the cuff buckles I'm playing with.
Yeah. So it was like the booster strap on the top, wasn't it? But it wasn't letting your foot wobble around in the boot, was it, for sure?
No, definitely not.
Well, you would never be skiing the bumps the way you are if the boot was that loose. I think Colin's saying the upper buckle's loose, ankle ankle buckles not so loose. Yeah, pretty much, Colin. Watch the video, Colin. Reilly McGlashan YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the bell icon. No, I'm not at all lost, Fabi, because I've watched the video. I've watched both of the videos. And I know exactly what he's talking about. And then Colin's saying, properly sized, then it doesn't move, it doesn't bang. Yeah. Our boot fitters, they're always here with advice on boots. That's what we've got them for. Now, here's a question. Lee is asking, and I don't know if Lee, if we know Lee, I don't have a surname. And Lee also asked a question earlier. They asked the predicted production question, but it might be the same, Lee. 34 back-to-back seasons. How's the injury list?
Yeah, so the injury list was good until, well, kind of. When I was 21 or something, I had a lot of back issues. I blew a disc in my back. And yeah, it took like three years for me to kind of get back to feeling like I could trust it and ski hard again. So yeah, that was a bit of a thing. And then last year, or actually in December in 2018, I hit a bump pretty hard and I tore my labrum in my hip, and I didn't know what it was for a long time, and I was in a lot of pain the whole winter. And I had to have surgery on that last year. So I was been recovering from surgery since August last year, all last winter. The winter before, I was injured the whole winter. I was skiing, but I was in a lot of pain skiing. I think, yeah, just skiing in general, if you ski a lot and you try and want to push your skiing and you ski hard and you ski fast with a lot of forces, I think, if you're lucky if you don't get any injuries. Very lucky. If you look at the World Cup, I mean, I'm not skiing World Cup at all. Those guys, I think, have much more brutal. Like, I get to choose a lot of the snow. Right now, for me, it's about choosing the snow that I try and go hard on. I'm like looking at snow sometimes now, and like when I was in my 20s, I would just go as hard as I could down it. But now I'm like, well, I kind of want to ski a little bit more this week, so maybe I just take it easy and maybe do one hard run today on that snow, and instead of like 50 hard runs on the snow. So, but with World Cup skiers, those guys, you see, they're having surgeries every year. So many of them are having surgeries because the forces they're putting through their body, they're on injected snow now. And they don't get a choice to make a turn, in the soft snow, or I'm not going to do this run because I'm going to take it easy on this run because I don't need to go hard. They have to go hard every run. So that's why you see so many injuries. And I think the thing is, if you want to push yourself and get, faster and faster and more dynamic, you're going to have to put yourself in those positions. And that's unfortunately the nature of skiing, is that if you do that, then yeah, you will probably get injured and have like nagging pains and injuries all the time. And yeah, unfortunately.
So of the injuries that you've mentioned, these are all pretty much from usage injuries, right? Overuse or from using the body, let's say. Have you had any from crashes?
See, this is what I don't understand with the hip, is that I think the hip problem started from a crash, an original crash. Like I have a thing called femoral acetabular impingement, and femoral acetabular impingement is basically where the neck of the femur, over like lots of sports as a kid. I played a lot of different sports. I was doing lots of sport competitions and stuff, and they think that from being a sports person as a kid, the neck of your femur ossifies and it grows thicker. So basically, it means that it's not perfectly symmetrical. So it whacks on the labrum and the articular cartilage inside the acetabulum, which is the hip socket, and that's basically I had that underlying condition with the bone anyway. But just because you have that doesn't mean that you're going to tear your labrum. It's likely that you could, but what happened was about 5 years ago or 4 years ago, I had a big crash where I did the splits. The skis went out to the side and they didn't eject, and I had a pretty big, and my hips, they felt like they just ripped apart my hips, and I couldn't walk for like 2 weeks. And then it just kind of cleared up, but my hip was clicking after that, and that's a pretty big sign of torn labrum if your hip clicks. So, and it didn't hurt after that. It didn't, like, my hip was clicking, and I didn't have any pain. And often you won't have pain until it's too late. So as soon as I started having pain, then the hip's pretty damaged at that stage. So yeah, that's what happened.
Wowza. Yeah, the old falls with the splits, they never look good. I've seen a few races. I remember there was someone at the very last jump on the Hanenkam years and years and years ago, probably in the 80s, I would think. I don't know. It's always on the clip rolls when you see racers fall, and they landed and boom, and
yeah, it wasn't fun. I was hoping that my skis were going to pop off, but they didn't.
They didn't. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Injuries, not good. Okay, so David is back. He talked to me about the preseason in Capron. I remember now, David. I knew I'd seen your little picture somewhere before. He's got another question. Thanks for the good answer, Reilly. Another question. Best ski area to work as an instructor down under, New Zealand or Australia? I have heard the salary is better in Australia, but the skiing is a bit better in New Zealand. Ooh.
Yeah, so if you work in Australia, you're going to get paid way better, and you'll probably get much more work. I guess it depends on your goal. Like, what is your goal to go to Australia? Do you want to go to Australia and New Zealand to ski a lot and work a bit? Or do you want to go down there primarily to work and make money? So if your goal is to work and make money, then Australia is definitely the better option. There's no question about that. But if your idea is to work and ski a bit and you have a bit of savings saved up, because even in Australia, you might not make that much, but you have a chance of making more. But if you want to ski a little bit and work a little bit, it depends on where you work in New Zealand as well. But I think overall the snow conditions stay better in New Zealand for longer during the winter. That's not to say that in Australia you can't get great snow. Like, you can get awesome snow, and it's really fun to ski in Australia, and it's very unique skiing in the Australian Alps with the gum trees and the alpine environment. Like in New Zealand, it very much looks like the Austrian Alps, like it's very spectacular, breathtaking lakes and mountains. It's straight out of Lord of the Rings. It's probably the most beautiful place I've been to in New Zealand. But Australia's very, very beautiful in its own way, and there's like really, really good skiing as well in Australia. But the window of good snow is unless you hit a really good season, but it's generally not that big. You have like 3 weeks of good snow, then either side you can have good snow of those out of August, but it's just hit and miss. So I'd say probably the better skiing overall is in New Zealand, but the better working, just like you've said, it just depends on your goal. If your goal is to make money, go to Australia. If your goal is to probably do not so much work and free ski and go to visit some spectacular places, maybe New Zealand.
Good stuff. There you go, David. Hopefully that has answered that question. And maybe we'll see you in Capron once we eventually get open. If anyone else got any last questions for Reilly, then please do pop them in the comments. We got a couple more from the pre-sent in questions, and then we will start wrapping things up for tonight. So last couple, Reilly. Claire is asking, I don't know why she's asking you, but because she could have asked me. She's saying, I need to get boots fitted in Austria. In one of your videos, okay, this is why she's saying it's you, because you talked about this in your video. In one of your videos, you've talked about boot fitters who had a boot fitter who was this. Okay, I'll read this again. I need to get boots in Austria. In one of your videos, you talk about a boot fitter. Who was this, and where did they work? I've got a funny thing. I've got a funny feeling that Claire isn't Claire.
So, in Project Kits, when we came to Kitstone Horn in Capron, we met a very, very nice lad named.
Character.
Was that?
Character.
Character. He's in the chat. Where is he? Where is he in the chat? Fabi, he's up there. He hasn't put a question in a while, Fabian Stiebel. But anyway, he was great. He helped us out. He came up onto the hill, was very interested in what we were doing. And I think that's a very important part in finding a boot fitter, is somebody who's really interested in making your experience on the hill better. And he did that. I chat with him personally a lot over Messenger too. And I was planning on coming to do some boot fitting with him, get my boots fitted with him 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. But, you know, the world kind of imploded and now everyone's stuck inside. So, yeah, that's who it is, and I highly recommend him.
There he is, Claire. You can see him in that little picture there with his son. If you do need to get in contact with him, then you can just get in contact with us at Snow Camps Europe, and we will pass you on to Fabian Steeple, the boot fitter here in Kaprun, boot fitter to the stars. He's doing me some footbeds next week. You're also getting approval from Mr. Tumbas, Fabian Steeple. A lot of people blowing wind up your bottom tonight. I don't know if anybody has seen Mr. Tumbas's video from today that he posted of him in a rut line with no poles, dancing through the bumps. If you haven't seen it, everybody go and find it. Gary Tumbas Snow Sports, go find that video. Brilliant video. Gemma, thank you both. Really great answers. Thank you for watching, Gemma. I'm guessing you're watching in Australia, Gemma. What time is it?
Thanks, Gemma.
Is it early or late in Australia right now?
Must be early in the morning. Okay. But Gemma, I hope you have a great summer, and hopefully I'll see you in the future.
Fabi is saying thanks, guys, as well. Couple more just before we finish. Sid has made a comment about the hips. The hip joint growth says a lot for me, playing soccer for 30 years, plus the knee joints. Yeah.
So that's actually one of the biggest. This injury that I had is very, very common in soccer players. There was like professional soccer players, and it's really, really. I didn't even know about it until I finally figured out what was wrong with me. But it's like 25% of people have this type of this extra bone, like on the femur neck. So it is kind of normal, but it's very common with athletes to get and especially younger athletes in their 20s, early 20s. It would have been nicer if I'd had the surgery earlier, because when you have the surgery earlier in your life, you have a better recovery from it. So, but it is a relatively new surgery as well. They've been doing it for like 15 years because it's something that they found more recently have discovered that it's kind of busting up people's hips earlier.
Okay. There you go. Sid, 30 years of playing football. 2 more questions we got here. Although David is in for a 3rd question. David's back. He wants his money's worth tonight. What's your favorite skiing exercise? I suppose it depends on what you're trying to achieve, David. But what would you say is your most favorite go-to drill?
I mean, I think probably the one that can help most people, and that I do a lot with people, that you work on many, many different things. It's not just one thing, but you can work on every type of thing in your skiing. Traverses, doing traversing. I know it sounds boring, but it's you can work on the basic position, you can work on your ankles, you can work on hand position. You can start increasing the speed a little bit and start increasing the edge angle, like in a J turn. So, I mean, that to me, doing a traverse and then maybe into a J turn, possibly, if you're going to really want to break down finer details in your skiing, you can work on multiple things. I think a traverse or a J turn probably.
Cool. If you think, David, I think if you've been in the Austrian system, you'll know what a fan progression is, or a Feckerformiger Aufbau. That's kind of what Reilly's talking about there, is taking it from a traverse and then through until you do a full J turn. And he mentioned my favorite thing there, arm position. There you go, David. Colin is saying, great chat, guys. Fabi, I got a good seeing you, Reilly, and hope you will be back to normal ASAP. Looking forward to fitting your nice boots. Thanks, and see you soon. Thank you, Fabi. Yeah. We got one last question that we're going to do. It's coming from Rod. And Rod is saying his knees have been replaced, but his lateral range of movement doesn't seem to be as much as it used to be. Would race plates help him get a greater edge angle?
So both his knees replaced, and he can't get lateral range with his knee.
He feels as if he doesn't have as much lateral movement since the knee replacements.
Yeah. So if you're just talking purely about the knees bending from one side to the other in a turn, that actually is more to do with hip range. So the movement of the femur in the hip joint has more of in play with lateral movement of the knees. But if you just move the knees to the side, you're going to block your movement inside the turn, so you can't get as much edge angle. So, and I'm assuming that riser plates are there so that you can try and get more edge angle. The biggest thing to getting more edge angle is bending the inside leg, not moving the knees over. So I don't think you need to have riser plates to get your knees to go further over. They're two separate things. So,
okay, so pulling the inside leg, extend the outside. Are we saying, Reilly? Would you extend and retract?
Well, I guess it depends if you're starting off in a straight run. If you're starting off in a straight run, then both legs are going to be extended. So then you only need to bend one leg. But yeah, if you're transitioning from one turn to the other, one's going to be bent and one's going to have to flex and the other one will have to extend out to the other side. So when you start turning, yeah, one will extend and one will flex. And if you're starting off doing a straight run, going straight down the hill, then you'll just bend as you're tipping, bend one leg over and go that way. Yeah. So yeah, it will just depend. And that's the biggest thing to do to get more edge angle it's not pushing the knees over. If you just push the knees over, then the knee will bend like that and your hip can still stay over here. You want to be getting the center of mass inside.
Cool.
That's what you want to do.
There you go, Rod. So you don't necessarily need racer plates or race plates. That's what you called them, wasn't it? Mr. Tumbas is saying, really great chat. Have fun, guys. Thanks, Andy Rose and Reilly. Keep rocking. Thank you, sir. Hopefully see you very soon on the mountain on the 24th if it opens. David is saying, cheers, guys. Great answers. Thanks, David, for watching. So there we go, folks. Reilly, if you stay there, but before I turn you off, thank you very much for coming on tonight. Very good chat. We probably could have gone on for hours and hours. What have you got there?
A little bit of wine. There's a bit of red wine.
A little bit of wine. He kept that well hidden, didn't he, until the end? So, well, chin, Reilly. You stay there, mate. Thank you very much for coming on. From everybody who's asked questions, I will come and speak to you in a second, but bye for now. So there you go, folks. Reilly McGlashan. Hopefully everybody could understand the Australian. I didn't have to translate a great deal. Next week, we're going to take a break because I have a Sunday night commitment. However, the week later, on the 20th, we are going to be back with our Sunday Ski Cast Christmas special. We are bringing back several of the guests from the first round of Sunday Ski Casts. So for sure, our boot fitters, Fabian Steeple and Colin Martin, are going to be back. We are trying to get Melanie, our Olympic mogul skier, back, although she is already on the World Cup circuit. She was racing yesterday in Finland, I believe it was. A couple of the other guys are coming back. Gordon, our sockman, is coming back. And we are going to have a little bit of Christmas fun. There will be more than 2 or 3 of us on the screen at one time. I've got a few surprises for the guys. And we will hopefully have a little bit of a Christmas party on the Sunday Ski Cast on the 20th of December, 8 p.m. Central European time, 7 p.m. UK time. The rest of the world times will be posted in the forthcoming promotion for that. But for this evening, everybody, thank you all for watching. As we have been continually saying, stay positive, test negative. Andy for Snow Camps Europe saying thanks for watching this week's SkiCast. Thanks to Reilly McGlashan for coming on. Fantastic chat. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now, folks.